We've all heard of the elements of harmony, but is it possible that the elements of disharmony exist as well? Joining me today is Cannedcream.
Or CC for short.
Now, you've talked about the elements of disharmony before, haven't you?
I remember getting ready to talk about them, then I ended up taking a wrench upside the head and getting locked in a closet by an evil twin I created by drinking distilled water from the mirror pond. Yeah, it's a long story.
Okay, I think I remember now. I guess I should bring you up to speed. Basically, your evil twin, what's his name?
Loathing.
Right, Loathing decided that if the elements of disharmony existed, these would be the bearers. The element of cruelty would be Diamond Tiara, the element of selfishness would be Blue Blood, the element of deceit would be shared by Flame and Flam, the element of betrayal, Spitfire, the element of gloom, Mod Pie, and the element of evil magic would be Sunset Shimmer. But these were all theoretical judgments. If the elements of disharmony existed, those would be the bearers. But here's my proposition. The elements of disharmony do exist in Equestria.
They do? That seems a bit far-fetched. Wouldn't we have already seen or heard of them if they had? I mean, don't get me wrong, Equestria is a cornucopia of magical whatevers, but what makes you think that something like that could be real?
What if I told you we have seen an element of disharmony? Since their first appearance, the elements of harmony have been depicted by crystals. In the pilot episode, 5 out of 6 of the crystals had transformed into necklaces. What have we seen similar to those necklaces? The Alicorn Amulet.
You mean the one that Trixie bought? The one that made her go cuckoo, crazy, banana bonkers. You think that was one of the supposed anti-elements?
Sure.
Why?
Just look at what the Alicorn Amulet did to Trixie. Before, she was only capable of a few tricks, but after adoring the amulet, she could do things that were beyond even Twilight's level. Her magical ability went through the roof. Plus, it closely matches the description of the actual elements, the necklace with the crystal in the center. I think it would make a good element of evil magic.
Well, okay, yeah, it did amplify Trixie's power in the same way that Twilight's amps up her own whenever she needs to bring the hammer of friendship down upon some villain's head, but I question if that by itself really means anything. After all, there was only the one amulet, where there are 6 elements of harmony. Wouldn't Trixie have needed to buy, like, 5 more of those buggers for her own to work? There is no way that rock farming pays that well.
Ah, but that's the beauty of disharmony. Did I really just say that? Anyway, while the elements of harmony depend on the magic of friendship, the elements of disharmony would have no reason to follow the same rules. Harmony has no part in these elements, hence the name, so they can be used individually.
Well, in that context, yeah, that could work. And if we are talking about elements that are the exact opposite of the main 6, then it's possible that everything about them would be opposite, including being stronger when kept apart than used together. But this is only one example though. That still leaves at least 5 other gems unaccounted for. If this is really possible, then there's gotta be something else we can point to, right? I mean, think of all the items that have either been enchanted or created with dark and negative magic in this show. There's Trixie's amulet, Rarity's book, the Siren's necklaces, even Twilight's own element turned Sunset Shimmer into a raging she-demon. Her words, not mine. If nothing else, we are at least seeing the capacity for something like that to exist. But that begs to question, why would they be a thing in the first place?
Are you familiar with the old Jedi Order?
Of course! May the Force beam you up, Katniss! Didn't Gandalf say that?
Something tells me you aren't so familiar with it then. Basically it goes like this. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, yes, even before the events of the Phantom Menace, a group of people settled on a planet called Tython to discuss and explore a mysterious force, the Force. These people became known as the Jedi Order, not spelled like that. Well, at least not yet. This group believed in a balance between the light side and the dark side of the Force, Ashla and Bogan. K2, one of the greatest members of this order, said it like this. In the light, there is a darkness, and in the darkness, a light. It is the way with us all. Be a prisoner of neither Bogan or Ashla. Strive to live in balance. This balance was considered a fundamental truth of the Force. Notice that the Jedi Order never actually wanted to get rid of the evil or the dark side.
Nerd! Sorry. Anyway, then how come I remember the Jedi being so very anti-dark side? What changed, and what does this have to do with MLP?
I'll get to that. Tython served as a center of philosophy and study for thousands of years. Anyone who focused too much on one side of the Force was exiled and forced to meditate on the opposite side until there was balance. However, the system didn't last forever. More and more lost their balance, and tensions between supporters of both sides arose. This started a 10-year conflict called the Force Wars. It was a gruesome war between supporters of Ashla and supporters of Bogan, but ultimately the dark side lost. The members of the Jedi Order that supported the light side totally abandoned the idea of balance, and they became known as the Jedi. Dark side supporters hadn't given up though. Oh no, the real battle between good and evil had just begun. Or should I say, Bogan. Get it? Because...
Yes, I get it. But I still don't see what this has to do with the elements of disharmony.
In most movies, the good guys always win. This notion of good always prevailing is especially evident in Friendship is Magic. Even when the villain seems to have the upper hand, in the last second something happens and Ponykind is saved once again. Of course, the princess would want nothing but good. But what if at one point, both sets of elements were seen through equal light? No person favoring one or the other, but believing in a balance, similar to the balance between Ashla and Bogan.
And what you're saying is that there was a similar war where harmony and disharmony collided and the pony light side won.
Exactly.
So this could explain why we haven't seen or heard anything about the elements of disharmony directly, but have instead seen several hints at items and relics that are clearly fused with dark magic. They could be thought of as relics from some long ago ultimate good versus ultimate evil war.
That very well may be. Also, the harmony supporting ponies that won the war would try their best to cover up the existence of the elements of disharmony, perhaps even going to the extent of destroying them. Under this lens, the Alicorn amulet was just the element of disharmony that happened to survive. And who knows how many more element-like relics have yet to show up.
Well, with Season 5 looking like it's going to take the main 6 all across Equestria, and maybe even beyond, there's certainly the opportunity to uncover all kinds of evil doodads and trinkets. Enough of the stuff has filtered its way into Ponyville that it's hard to believe there's not more of them out there, somewhere. You know, thinking about it, the idea certainly seems possible. After all, we've seen several instances of dark magic-infused items that are akin to the elements, but at the same time, I wouldn't say there's enough evidence to call the idea anything more than a theory. A plausible theory for sure, but still only a theory.
I guess you're right, but really only time can tell. Well, it's been a pleasure discussing this idea with you, Cece. Thank you for your input.
No problem, BN. And thank you for giving the good ponies of Equestria something new to fear.
No problem. This is the Brony Notion signing out until next Wednesday.
And this is Cannedcream saying, as always,
Stay pony, my friends.
Brohoof.